From Creamer Media in Johannesburg, this is the Real Economy Report. Our top stories this week. We look at just one of South Africa's large new power stations and discover that it's 4 times the size of Gautrain and 6 times the 2010 Soccer World Cup expenditure. We look at the Air Force's high-tech Hawk jets. And we visit sections of Hillbrow that are being upgraded through an alternative urban regeneration model. Engineering News went to South Africa's northwest to see how Medupi is faring. Martin Creamer reports.
A massive new coal energy complex is rising out of the bush in Limpopo province as Medupi Power Station reaches for the sky. Eskom chairperson Bobby Gotzel.
Medupi, one of the 2 new coal-fired power stations, is 4 times the size of the Gautrain project and 6 times the scale of government spending on the 2010 soccer tournament, just to put it in perspective. Its construction will employ, that's Medupi alone, its construction will employ 8,000 people, including 200 engineers and 2,400 artisans, and requires, of course, a great upskilling program which is underway. The power station will consume 15 million tonnes of coal per year of operation, in turn supporting 2,000 jobs in coal mining. It will require 1,800 houses, require R1 billion in road expansion, as well as significant improvements to rail and harbour expansion. It will also require the construction of 2,500 kilometres of transmission lines at a cost of R5 billion.
Eskom Chief Officer Generation Brian Darms has been with the 4,800 megawatt project every step of the way.
The 120 billion investment going into this part of the country, we're doubling this town's GDP, and we're building, as far as I'm concerned, a brand new town out here. Not to mention the mining investment that will go with this. The local content that we're driving on the boiler plant, where we have a 20 billion contract on this project. We're looking at a local content of over 60% coming out of South Africa. That's significant. And in terms of the turbine contract of 13 billion rand, half of that to be in South Africa. With that goes skills, goes new factories, goes new facilities, and obviously all of that. No government, I think, can ask for a productive investment such as this and a stimulus package at this point in time. So this fits quite well with what we're trying to do within the country.
The South African Air Force's new BAE Systems Hawk fighter trainers have all been delivered and are now in service. Keith Campbell has this report after the break.
The Hawks are operated by 85 Combat Flying School. They are in fact part of a whole new integrated training system, including sophisticated simulator systems and classrooms. The Hawks have replaced the old Atlas Impala trainers that served the Air Force for some 40 years. The officer commanding 85 Combat Flying School, Lieutenant Colonel Lance Wellington, explains the advances brought by the Hawk.
The Hawk is a vast improvement on the Impala, a generational gap of, as we mentioned earlier, 40 years. The integrated avionics, the kit that's available to the pilot, the power of the aircraft is a vast improvement and gives us much more functionality than we ever could have hoped. The Hawk, or our South African Hawk, is probably the most advanced fighter trainer aircraft in the world presently because of all the equipment, all the avionics and integrated avionics that we've put on the aircraft. It's really the best that is out there, state of the art. But I think the integrated avionics that we have on the aircraft, specifically being able to share aeroplane geoposition with each other in a data link format in order to improve situational awareness of the pilot in the cockpit.
In addition to being a training unit, 85 Combat Flying School also serves as an operational fighter bomber unit and is divided into a training flight and an operational flight. The operational flight flew air security missions over football stadiums during the recent Confederations Cup. One of the members of the operational flight, Captain Thabo Mashalani, explains what he likes about the Hawk.
Basically, it's avionics. Flying the aircraft comes generally very easy, I think, as a pilot. But the aircraft itself, it's equipped with a lot of avionics that help you out, as a pilot, to increase your situational awareness, as the colonel has said. you find you're always in the game. You know what's going on around you, and as a wingman as well, you know exactly what to do. The system helps you to actually help your leader.
Urban regeneration takes on a new consciousness in the infamous Hillbrow. Beth Shirley reports.
Hillbrow has developed notorious characteristics of crime and grime, but Josie Adler has helped establish the Akaya neighborhood in the area. She explains what this is.
Akaya neighborhood is an association of property owners and their housing supervisors and caretakers who've been working since 2004 in the area of Lower Hillbrow, which was a badly degenerated area. They've been working together to try and establish an environment in which their businesses can operate successfully. They fund themselves. They've had from levies that the participant property owners pay. They've been able to fund the program and all their projects. This year, for the first time, they've had funding from the city, which will be used to help them register as a city improvement district, a residential improvement district, so that it becomes law that all buildings, all properties in the area must pay levies towards the funding of the initiative.
Adler discusses an alternative to the traditional urban regeneration model. This is developed around community organization principles in the Akaya neighborhood.
The property owners in the Akaya neighborhood have been leaders in that together they have learned that to regenerate the city takes more than money for physical upgrade of infrastructure and more than merely the imposition of security and cleaning arrangements. That a slow process of identifying issues of concern, mutual, shared issues of concern, acting on those one by one, building up trust, achievement, scoring achievement on their goals, that a social dynamic starts to comes into play, which develops community among the property owners, among their housing managers and caretakers, and among the residents, that an identity comes into being about the Akaya neighborhood, where we live, where we get things done, where we make a safe, friendly and healthy neighborhood.
And now for a sneak preview of this week's Engineering News magazine. In this week's cover story, we report that less than a year remains to complete the Gautrain's link from OR Tambo Airport to Sandton. The first dish for South Africa's prototype Cat-7 radio telescope array has been mounted on its pedestal in the Northern Cape. And we report that the Port of Cape Town's R4.2 billion capacity expansion project is well underway. And in Mining Weekly this week, read our cover story where we report that a massive acid mine drainage project is stimulating local industrial beneficiation. We report that gold mining junior Simmer and Jack Mines will close its uneconomic underground operations in South Africa's Mpumalanga province with 271 jobs at risk. And we report that the world's biggest diamond miner, De Beers, has shed 4,700 jobs, most of them permanently. That's Creamer Media's Real Economy Report. Join us again next week for more news and insight into South Africa's real economy.
Engineering news, not just for engineers.